Can your best friend sell you? For money, someone you know, someone you shared your secrets with, someone whose shoulder you cried on. Can they hand you over to a room full of monsters? The woman sitting across from me knew the answer, because she had lived it. She felt it when the drug hit her bloodstream through her drink. She saw it when the door opened and those men walked in, and her best friend watched, then took her turn. Now this woman sat in my office. She had tried to die 3 times, failed 3 times, and every single day she saw them, in her small town, smiling, happy, living as if nothing had ever happened. When was the last time you saw the people who did this to you? I asked. I expected her to say years ago. I expected distance, time, some form of escape, but she lifted her head and looked directly into my eyes. Yesterday, she said, at the grocery store, they were picking out a baby stroller, holding hands. They looked happy. She paused. They saw me. They smiled, like I was an old friend they were happy to run into. In some sessions, my patients healed as they talked, but some stories never left my mind. Today, I am going to tell you about one of those lives. If you are listening to this story, and there are things inside you that you cannot hold anymore, share what you are feeling in the comments, and tell me where you are listening from. I read every comment. I hear every story. If you want to hear more therapy stories that I cannot get out of my head, do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. If this story touches your heart, you can support me by liking. One day, I would like to hear your story too. If you want me to share your story in my next video, you can send it to the email address in my profile. Remember, our stories heal a little when they are shared. Her name was Melissa, 23 years old, but her eyes belonged to someone much older, someone who had seen too much and felt too little for too long. The referral notes on my desk listed the clinical facts: 3 suicide attempts, chronic PTSD, severe depression, self-harm. But notes are just words on paper. They do not capture the way someone's spirit can fracture while their body keeps breathing. She lowered herself into the chair across from me, like her bones were made of glass. Her sleeves were pulled past her wrists despite the summer heat. I noticed the way she positioned herself, back against the wall, eyes tracking the door, body angled for escape. I have spent 22 years in this profession. I have heard confessions that would shatter most people. But something about Melissa made the hair on my arms stand up. It was not the suicide attempts. It was not the scars I suspected were hiding beneath those sleeves. It was the absolute absence of hope in her voice when she spoke. I do not know why I am here. I have tried everything. Medication, therapy, hospitals. She laughed, but the sound was hollow. I even tried God. Nothing works. Nothing ever works. What made you come today? My mother found me last month, in the bathtub. Her voice was flat, clinical, like she was describing someone else. She made me promise to try one more time, so here I am, trying. I leaned forward slightly. Melissa, you said nothing works, but you are still here. After 3 attempts, you are still alive. Part of you is fighting to survive, even if you do not feel it. Something flickered behind her eyes. Not hope. Something more like anger. You want to know why I'm still alive? I waited. Because I am a coward. The first time, I did not take enough pills. The second time, I cut the wrong direction. She held up her wrist, showing me through the fabric. The third time, I could not make myself turn the wheel. She leaned back. I cannot even kill myself properly. I fail at everything. What struck me in that moment was not her words, but her delivery. The detachment. The clinical precision. This is what prolonged trauma does to the human psyche. It creates a separation between the self that experiences and the self that narrates. Melissa was describing her own suicide attempts like a news report. This dissociation is a survival mechanism. When reality becomes unbearable, the mind creates distance. But that distance comes at a cost. It makes genuine connection nearly impossible. It makes feeling anything, even the desire to live, feel like reaching through fog. You mentioned you tried therapy before. What happened? Nothing. I sat in rooms like this and talked about my feelings, and nothing changed. Her jaw tightened. They all wanted me to talk about my childhood, my parents, whether I was hugged enough as a baby. None of them understood. Understood what? She looked at me directly for the first time. Her gaze was a challenge, that the person who destroyed me was not a stranger. It was not my parents. It was not some random predator. Her voice dropped. It was my best friend, and she did it for $50. I felt something cold move through my chest. In 22 years, I had heard many stories of betrayal. But something in her voice told me this was different. Tell me about her. Melissa's expression shifted. For a moment, I saw it, pure hatred concentrated in absolute. Then the mask returned. Her name is Jessica. Was Jessica, is Jessica. She shook her head. I still do not know what tense to use. The girl I knew does not exist anymore. Maybe she never did. When did you meet? Freshman year. She sat next to me in history class and told me she liked my notebook Zasa purple with silver stars. A ghost of something crossed her face. I thought it was fate, finding a best friend on the first day of high school. I thought I was lucky. She exhaled sharply through her nose. I was not lucky. I was being selected. Help me understand who you were before all of this, I said. Before Jessica. Before everything changed. Melissa was quiet for a long moment. I watched her journey backward through years of pain, searching for someone she had buried. I was happy. I know that sounds impossible now, but I was genuinely happy. Her voice softened, touching something tender. I was the girl who made friendship bracelets for people I barely knew, who organized surprise birthday parties, who stayed after school to help teachers clean up just because I wanted to be helpful. You were a caretaker. I was an idiot. The softness vanished. I thought kindness was a currency, that if I deposited enough into the world, I would get it back, that being good meant being protected. She laughed bitterly. Nobody told me that predators look for people like me, people who give without asking, people desperate to be needed. Melissa had identified something crucial without fully realizing it. People with what we call a fawn trauma response, those who cope by pleasing others, are disproportionately targeted by manipulators. It is not weakness that makes them vulnerable. It is empathy. The same qualities that make someone a loyal friend, a caring partner, a good person, these become entry points for exploitation. Predators do not look for strength to overcome. They look for kindness to corrupt. And Melissa, at 17, had been radiating kindness like a signal flare. Tell me about your family. My parents loved me, still do, but they were stretched thin. Dad worked nights at the factory. Mom worked days at the hospital. They passed each other in the driveway and left notes on the refrigerator. You were alone a lot. I learned to be self-sufficient, to not need anything, to be so easy that they would not have one more thing to worry about. She picked at her sleeve again. I became invisible on purpose, and then I wondered why nobody could see me. Until Jessica. Until Jessica, the name came out like a curse. She saw me, or she pretended to. Looking back, I understand she was studying me, learning my weak points, figuring out exactly what I was hungry for so she could dangle it in front of me. What were you hungry for? Melissa considered the question. When she answered, her voice was barely audible. To be chosen just once. To be someone's first choice instead of their backup plan. She met my eyes. I was not pretty enough to be popular, not thin enough to be desired, not talented enough to be admired. I was just there. Background noise in everyone else's story. And Jessica made you feel different. Jessica made me feel like the main character. She called me every night, saved me seats, told everyone I was her best friend. Melissa's lip curled. I did not notice that she never let me get close to anyone else, that she would say little things to keep me insecure, that every compliment came with a small cut hidden inside. Like what? Like, I wish I could eat whatever I wanted and not care about my weight like you do. Or, you are so brave for wearing that dress. Or, I love how you do not need male attention to feel good about yourself. She shook her head. I thought she was being nice. I did not hear the poison underneath. What Melissa described is a textbook isolation and devaluation pattern. Jessica was systematically destroying Melissa's other relationships, while simultaneously eroding her self-esteem, all while appearing to be a supportive friend. This is how psychological predators operate. They do not attack directly. They corrode from within. By the time the victim realizes what is happening, they have no one else to turn to. They are dependent on the very person who is destroying them. Jessica had spent years preparing Melissa, making her isolated, making her desperate, making her easy. When did Tyler enter the picture? Melissa's entire body changed. Her shoulders curved inward, her breathing shortened. She wrapped her arms around herself like she was trying to hold her organs inside her body. Junior year. 3 months before everything ended. Looking back now, can you see the warning signs? The things Jessica did that should have told you who she really was? Melissa nodded slowly. So many. But I was blind. Or maybe I did not want to see. Tell me about them. Little things at first. She would cancel plans at the last minute, then post photos with other people. She would tell me secrets about other girls, then act surprised when those girls stopped talking to her, as if she had not been the one spreading rumors. Her eyes darkened. There was this girl, Amanda, sophomore year. She started hanging out with us for a few weeks. Jessica was so welcoming at first. Then Amanda got attention from a boy Jessica liked. Within a month, Amanda was a social outcast. Jessica had spread a rumor that Amanda had a sexually transmitted disease, completely made up. Amanda transferred schools, and you did not see the pattern? I told myself it was different with me, that Jessica would never do that to her best friend, that I was special. She laughed bitterly. I was not special, I was just useful, and when I stopped being useful, when I became a liability, I became a target. What Melissa described is a classic pattern of narcissistic abuse. Jessica displayed all the hallmarks: love bombing in the beginning, creating dependency through isolation, and intermittent reinforcement to keep Melissa off balance. The destruction of Amanda was not random cruelty, it was a demonstration of power. It showed Melissa unconsciously what happens to people who cross Jessica. It kept Melissa compliant, grateful, afraid to step out of line. The tragedy is that Melissa blamed herself for not seeing the pattern, but these patterns are designed to be invisible to those inside them. That is what makes them so effective. Did Jessica have other victims before you? I found out later, yes. In college, I tracked down some of her old friends through social media. One of them, a girl named Rachel, agreed to talk to me. What did she tell you? That Jessica did something similar to her in middle school. Different details, but the same pattern. Befriend, isolate, betray. Rachel said Jessica stole her boyfriend, spread rumors about her, destroyed her reputation. When Rachel confronted her, Jessica acted confused, innocent, said Rachel was crazy and obsessed. Melissa's voice hardened. Rachel attempted suicide at 14. She spent 2 months in a psychiatric hospital. And Jessica moved on to high school like nothing happened, found a new target, found me. Tyler Morrison, basketball star, every girl's fantasy. Melissa's voice dripped with acid. He had this smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I know now that he practiced it, that it was a weapon. How did he approach you? Slowly, that is what made it convincing. He did not come on strong. He just noticed me little things, saying hi in the hallway, asking about homework, laughing at things I said that were not even funny. And Jessica? What was her reaction? Melissa froze. I saw something click behind her eyes, a connection she was still processing years later. She encouraged it. She kept telling me Tyler had mentioned me. That he thought I was different, that I should go for it. Her voice hardened. I thought she was being a good friend, supporting me, helping me believe someone like him could want someone like me. But she was not. She was setting the trap. And I walked right into it. He asked me out. One date, a walk in the park after school. Melissa's hands trembled. I spent 3 hours getting ready, 3 hours to be destroyed in 30 seconds. What happened? The date was perfect. That was the worst part. He was charming, attentive. He bought me ice cream and remembered my favorite flavor from a conversation weeks earlier. He held my hand under a maple tree and told me I was beautiful. Her voice cracked. No one had ever called me beautiful. Not once in 17 years, and I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. And then I went to school the next morning, floating, happy, thinking my life had finally begun. She closed her eyes. I heard the laughter before I saw them. This ugly, howling sound. Tyler was standing with his friends near the lockers, showing them something on his phone. Doing an impression of me, puffing out his cheeks, waddling. I want to pause here because what Tyler did is often minimized. People call it a prank, a joke that went too far. It was neither. It was calculated psychological violence against a vulnerable teenager. Tyler identified Melissa's deepest wound, her shame about her body, and weaponized it for entertainment and profit. The planning involved the patience required to gain her trust, the deliberate public execution. This is predatory behavior. And it was not the end. It was the beginning. There was a bet, Melissa continued, her voice flat. Marcus, Tyler's friend, bet him $50 he could not get the fat girl to go on a date, to believe someone like him would want someone like her. Tyler won the bet. He had proof, a photo of us holding hands, evidence that the impossible had happened. She opened her eyes. He looked at me while everyone laughed, looked right at me, and winked. Describe that moment, when you heard them laughing. Melissa's breathing changed. Shallower. Faster. I watched her travel back in time. It was like the sound was coming from underwater at first. Then it got louder, clearer. I could pick out individual voices. Tyler doing his impression. Marcus making pig noises. Other guys I did not even know joining in. Where were you standing? About 20 feet away. I had just turned the corner toward my locker. They had not seen me yet. I could have turned around, could have walked away and pretended I never heard. But you did not. My feet would not move. I was frozen, just standing there, watching Tyler waddle around, puffing his cheeks, listening to everyone laugh at my body, at my hope, at everything I had let myself believe. Her hands clenched. And then Tyler looked up. Our eyes met across the hallway. For 1 second, I thought maybe he would stop. Maybe he would feel ashamed. Maybe some part of him was still human. What happened? He winked. And kept going. Made the impression even bigger. The laughter got louder. She wiped her eyes roughly. That wink destroyed something in me. It was not just cruelty. It was dismissal. I was not even worthy of shame. I was entertainment, a joke, something to be used and discarded. The wink is what I call a power signature, a deliberate gesture that communicates complete dominance over another person. Tyler was not just humiliating Melissa, he was showing her that he knew she was watching, that he did not care, that her suffering meant nothing to him. This transforms the experience from mere bullying into something more sinister. It is the behavior of someone who enjoys causing pain, someone who sees other people not as human beings, but as objects for his amusement. This personality structure does not change with time. It simply learns to hide better. And the photo, the one he took without your permission? He passed it around for weeks. I would see people looking at their phones and laughing, then looking at me. I never saw the actual picture, but I knew it existed. Proof that I had believed. Proof that I was stupid enough to think someone like him could want someone like me. Did anyone defend you? One girl, Sarah Chen. She told Tyler he was disgusting, that what he did was wrong. Melissa's voice softened. He turned on her next, started a rumor that she was a lesbian, that she was obsessed with me. Within a week, she was getting harassment too. She stopped defending me after that. And you blamed yourself. Of course. Sarah got hurt because of me, because she tried to help me. It confirmed what I already believed, that I was toxic, that anyone who got close to me would be contaminated. What did you do after the hallway? I ran, found a bathroom no one used, locked myself in a stall and stayed there for 4 hours. When I finally came out, my eyes were so swollen I could barely see. Did anyone help you? Jessica found me. Melissa's voice turned cold. She said all the right things, that Tyler was a jerk, that I deserved better, that she was there for me. But she was not. 2 weeks later, she was dating him. 2 weeks. The entire school congratulated them on being such a cute couple. Nobody remembered what he did to me, or if they did, they decided I deserved it. Did you confront her? I tried. I told her what he had done, begged her to see who he really was. Melissa's jaw tightened. She said I was jealous, that I was obsessed with Tyler, that I needed to stop being pathetic and move on. The next few months, I disappeared. Stopped eating, stopped leaving my room except for school, lost 30 pounds. She laughed without humor. Everyone complimented me on the weight loss, asked what my secret was. My secret was that I wanted to die, but I was too scared to do it. Your parents did not notice? They noticed something was wrong. They just did not know what. I told them I was stressed about college applications. They believed me because they wanted to, because the truth was too ugly to consider. What changed? Melissa was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice had shifted, lower, darker. 3 months after the bet, there was a party. Senior year was starting. Everyone was celebrating. She swallowed. I did not want to go. But my mother was worried about me. She said I needed to get out, make friends, be normal. Her hands clenched into fists. So I went, to prove I was fine, to prove they had not broken me. This is a critical point in Melissa's story. Trauma survivors often push themselves to appear normal, to prove to themselves and others that they are over it. This is not healing. This is performance. And it can put them in danger. Melissa went to that party not because she wanted to, but because she needed to believe she could. She needed to test her own survival. Unfortunately, the people who had already hurt her were waiting. The party was at Connor Walsh's house. His parents were away for the weekend. 200 kids crammed into every room. Music so loud you could feel it in your chest. Were Tyler and Jessica there? Of course, they were the golden couple. Everyone orbited around them. I watched them from across the room, her hand on his arm around her waist. They looked so happy, so normal, like they had not destroyed someone's life for entertainment. Melissa shifted in her chair. I stayed near the walls all night, nursed 1 cup of punch, told myself I was fine, told myself I was healing, told myself this was what normal people did. What time did things change? Around midnight. I was standing by the back door getting some air when the dizziness started. At first I thought it was the heat, the crowd. Maybe I was dehydrated. Describe the sensation. Like the floor was tilting, like my blood was thickening. My thoughts started coming slower, like they were pushing through honey. Her voice tightened. I knew something was wrong. I just did not know what. Did you think about leaving? I tried to find my keys. They were in my pocket, but my fingers would not work right. I could not grip them. I decided to find somewhere to sit down. Wait for it to pass. She closed her eyes. That is when I saw Jessica. She was watching me from across the room. This tiny smile on her face. She knew. She knew what was happening to me. She had probably been the one to put something in my drink. She drugged you at the party? I think so. The punch bowl was unattended. Anyone could have added something. Melissa opened her eyes. But the way she looked at me, she was not surprised. She was waiting. I needed to get away from the noise, from the people, from her eyes following me. So, you went upstairs. Second door on the right, a guest bedroom, dark, quiet, empty. I just needed 5 minutes, just needed to clear my head, and then you heard them coming. Footsteps on the stairs, multiple people, laughing. I knew those laughs. Tyler, Marcus, and Jessica. Melissa's body curled inward. I do not know why I hid. Something animal, something deeper than thought. I saw the gap between the wardrobe and the wall. I squeezed myself in and I stopped breathing. Tell me exactly what you saw. Only what you can manage. She was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was detached, flat, reporting facts from a great distance. They brought Emily in. She was barely conscious. Her eyes were open but not seeing. Her feet dragged on the carpet. Tyler was holding one arm. Marcus had the other. And Jessica? She came in last. Closed the door. Locked it. Turned on a small lamp so there was just enough light to see. Melissa's hands shook. She was directing. Like a stage manager, telling Tyler where to put Emily, telling Marcus to get his phone ready. She kept saying this is going to be so good and she will not remember anything. I felt sick, physically sick, but I kept my face neutral. This was Melissa's story to tell. The next part, I cannot describe it, but I heard everything. I saw parts of it through the crack in the wardrobe, and I could not move. My body would not respond. I was screaming inside, but nothing came out. Tonic immobility, the freeze response. When the brain perceives mortal threat and determines that fight and flight are both impossible, it has one last option. Play dead. The muscles lock. The voice disappears. The body becomes still, hoping the predator will lose interest. This is not a choice. It is not cowardice. It is a survival mechanism as old as our species. Melissa could no more have jumped out and confronted 3 attackers than she could have flown. Her brain was protecting her the only way it knew how. But the cost of that protection was watching, in helpless silence, while violence unfolded in front of her. Some part of Melissa has never left that room. She is still behind that wardrobe, still frozen, still watching. That is what we are working to heal. I need to stop here and explain what happened to Melissa in that moment. When we witness violence, especially violence against someone similar to ourselves, the brain can react in several ways. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Melissa froze. Her body entered a state of tonic immobility, the same response prey animals have when captured by a predator. She was not choosing to stay hidden. Her nervous system had taken over, prioritizing survival above all else. This is not cowardice. This is biology. But the psychological cost of witnessing trauma while being unable to act is devastating. Melissa did not just see what happened to Emily. She experienced it. Her brain recorded it as if it were happening to her, and she has been reliving it ever since. How long were you there? Hours. Even after they left, I could not move. My body would not respond. I lay behind that wardrobe until the sun came up and the house was empty. Did you report what you saw? I went to the school counselor that Monday. I told her everything. Melissa's face twisted. She asked if I had been drinking, asked if I was sure about what I saw, reminded me that Tyler had a basketball scholarship and Jessica was student council president. She did not believe you. She told me to think very carefully before I ruined lives with accusations I could not prove. Then she sent me back to class. And Emily? The girl they assaulted? Melissa flinched. She transferred schools 2 weeks later. I heard she had a breakdown, tried to hurt herself. Her family moved away. You never spoke to her? I tried, once. I found her in the parking lot after school before she left. I told her I saw what happened, that I believed her, that I was sorry I did not do anything to stop it. Tears rolled down Melissa's cheeks. She looked at me like I was another monster, said if I really cared, I would have helped. Then she got in her car and drove away. I never saw her again. This moment broke something fundamental in Melissa. Survivor's guilt combined with witness trauma created a devastating feedback loop. She blamed herself for not acting, even though action was biologically impossible. She carried the weight of Emily's suffering on top of her own. And Emily's rejection, understandable but devastating, confirmed what Melissa already believed. That she was worthless, that she failed everyone, that she deserved whatever came next. What did come next? Melissa's eyes went dark. Jessica reached out to me. 2 months after the party, texted me out of the blue, said she missed me, said she felt bad about everything, wanted to hang out like old times. My blood went cold, and you went. I was so alone, so desperate. Some part of me still wanted to believe that the Jessica I knew had been real, that maybe she felt guilty, maybe she wanted to apologize. She laughed, a horrible, hollow sound. I was wrong. Her parents were away. She had drinks ready. She was being so sweet, so friendly, like nothing had ever happened between us. You drank with her. She kept refilling my glass. I should have known, but I wanted so badly to believe. Melissa's hands shook violently. After a while, everything went soft, heavy. I could think, but I could not move. And then the door opened. Tyler and Marcus. Jessica walked out of the room. I heard her on the phone in the hallway, laughing, talking about money, about how easy it had been. She looked at me with hollow eyes. $50. That is what she got. $50 to drug me. $50 to let them in. $50 to watch through the crack in the door while they... She could not finish. She did not have to. The next morning, I confronted her. What did she say? She denied everything. Said I had gotten drunk and thrown myself at them. That I was a slut who regretted it. That nobody would believe me over her. Melissa's voice turned to ice. And then she smiled. That same sweet smile from freshman year. And she said, we should do this again sometime. It was fun. What did you do? I went home, locked myself in the bathroom, and opened my wrists. I have to be very clear about something. Melissa's suicide attempt was not a choice made from clear thinking. When a person has been betrayed by everyone they trusted, when every avenue of help has been closed, when the world has proven itself to be a place where monsters win and victims are blamed, the mind can see only one escape. Melissa did not want to die. She wanted the pain to stop. She wanted to escape a reality that had become unlivable. The bathroom, the razor, the blood, these were not acts of surrender. They were desperate acts of a person trying to survive the unsurvivable. I woke up in the hospital. My mother had found me. She thought I had slipped in the shower. You did not tell her the truth? How could I? She had just saved my life. She was sobbing at my bedside, thanking God I was alive. How do you tell your mother that her daughter was drugged and assaulted by people she thinks are good kids from good families? So you kept the secret. I kept the secret, got released, went back to school, graduated, got a job at the library, tried to build some kind of life. She gestured at herself. This is what that life looks like. Antidepressants that barely work, nightmares every night, 2 more suicide attempts when the weight became too much, and the constant, daily torture of living in the same town as the people who destroyed me. Why did you stay? Why not leave? My father had a heart attack 2 years ago. He needs care. My mother cannot do it alone. Her voice cracked. And honestly, I realized it would not matter. I could move to another city, another country, but I would still be me. I would still carry what they did inside my body. Running away does not work when what you are running from lives inside you. But seeing them every day is a reminder. Tyler and Jessica got married 3 years ago. Big church wedding, my parents were invited. Did they go? My mother wanted to, said Jessica was such a sweet girl. I told her I was sick, locked myself in my room for 3 days. Her jaw tightened. They have a baby now, a little girl. Everyone says what wonderful parents they are, what a beautiful family. They do charity work, they volunteer at the church, they are pillars of the community. And Marcus, best man at the wedding, godfather to the baby, he married a woman from the next town over. She has no idea what her husband did. You mentioned they smile at you when you see them. Always, this specific smile, like we share a secret, like we are all old friends who went through something together. Her voice shook with rage. Sometimes Jessica touches my arm, asks how I am doing, says we should get coffee sometime and catch up. What do you do? I smile back, say I am fine, make excuses. Tears stream down her face. Because what else can I do? Nobody believes me. The counselor did not believe me. The police would not believe me. It would be my word against theirs. And they are the golden couple. They are the good people. And you? I am the crazy girl who tried to kill herself 3 times. The sad case, the cautionary tale. She wiped her face roughly. Even if someone believed me now, what would change? It happened 6 years ago. There is no evidence, no witnesses who would talk. Emily disappeared. The statute of limitations. She trailed off. Some crimes do not have justice, they just have survivors. I sat with her words for a long moment. This is part of the work, not rushing to fix, not offering empty comfort, just bearing witness. Melissa, I need to tell you something. And I need you to hear it. She looked up. What happened to you was not your fault, not the bet, not the party, not trusting Jessica, not going to her house. None of it. I know that. Her voice wavered. You know it here. I touched my temple, but you do not believe it here. I touched my chest. The part of you that keeps trying to die, that part still believes you deserved what happened, that you should have been smarter, stronger, that you should have fought back or screamed or done something different. She was crying now. Not the silent tears from before. Real sobs. You were 17 years old. You trusted your best friend. You wanted to be loved. Those are not crimes. Those are human needs. The only people who did something wrong are the people who exploited those needs. Trauma creates a cruel paradox. Victims often blame themselves because self-blame, as painful as it is, provides an illusion of control. If the assault was somehow their fault, then they can prevent future assaults by being different, smarter, more careful. But if the assault happened because predators targeted them, then the world is random and dangerous and there is no way to be safe. Self-blame, in a twisted way, is the mind's attempt to restore order to chaos. My job with Melissa was not to argue away her self-blame, it was to help her understand its function, to hold it gently, and to slowly help her see that she could let it go without falling apart. I am so tired, she whispered. I am so tired of fighting to stay alive when part of me does not want to be here. I know, and that exhaustion is real, it is valid. You have been carrying an impossible weight alone for 6 years. I leaned forward. But you are not alone anymore. You told me your story. You trusted me with the worst thing that ever happened to you. That took more courage than you realize. What if it does not help? What if nothing helps? Then we try something else, and something else after that, and we keep going until we find what works for you. But I need you to make me one promise. What? That you will keep showing up, one session at a time, one day at a time. We do this together. For the first time since she entered my office, something shifted in her eyes. Not hope. Not yet, but something adjacent to hope. The possibility that hope might one day return. I will try, she said. Melissa has been coming to see me for 11 months now. The road has been brutal. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, sometimes 1 step forward and 3 steps back. There were nights she called me in crisis, barely hanging on. Weeks where getting out of bed felt impossible. Sessions where she sat in silence for 45 minutes because words would not come. But something has changed. Something fundamental. Last month she told her mother the truth. Not everything, but enough. That something happened in high school. That Jessica was not who everyone thought she was. That she had been carrying a heavy secret for years. Her mother's response surprised her. She said she always knew something was wrong, that she could feel it. But she did not know how to ask. She did not know how to reach me. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. She apologized for not protecting me, for not seeing, for believing I was okay when I was dying inside. That night, for the first time in years, Melissa slept without nightmares. Her relationship with her father has shifted too. He does not know the details. Melissa is not ready for that conversation. But he knows his daughter was hurt, and he has started doing something he never did before. He asks how she is feeling. He waits for the real answer. It is strange, she told me. I spent so many years being invisible, being easy, being no trouble, and now my parents actually see me, the real me, the broken me, and they did not run away. 3 weeks ago, something unexpected happened. Melissa was at the hardware store, buying supplies for a project at work. She turned down an aisle and there was Jessica. Alone. No Tyler. No baby. Just Jessica, looking at paint samples. My first instinct was to run, to hide, to pretend I did not see her. Melissa's voice was steady, but something stopped me. 11 months of therapy, all those sessions, all those times you told me I did not deserve what happened. Something clicked. What did you do? I walked up to her. I stood 3 feet away and I said her name. I leaned forward. This was new. She looked up, and I saw it, this flicker of fear, just for a second. Then the mask came back, the sweet smile, the innocent eyes. She said, Melissa, oh my gosh, how are you? It has been so long. How did you respond? I did not smile back. I did not play the game. I just looked at her and said, I remember everything. I remember what you did. I remember what you watched them do, and I remember that you sold me for $50. My breath caught. Her face went white. The mask slipped. For about 5 seconds, I saw the real Jessica, the one underneath. She was terrified. What did she say? She tried to deny it, said she did not know what I was talking about, that I was confused, that I should see a doctor. Melissa smiled, a real smile, but her hands were shaking and she could not look at me. How did it end? I told her I had written everything down, every detail, every name, every date. I told her that envelope exists, and it will exist forever, even if nothing ever happens. Then I walked away. How did you feel? Powerful. For the first time in 6 years, I felt powerful. I did not need her to apologize. I did not need her to confess. I just needed her to know that I know, that someone knows the truth. This moment was a breakthrough I did not anticipate. Confronting an abuser is not something I recommend. It can be dangerous, re-traumatizing, or simply unsatisfying. But Melissa did not confront Jessica for closure or apology. She confronted her for herself. She took back something that had been stolen. Her voice. Her ability to name what happened. Her refusal to pretend. Jessica's fear in that moment was proof that the mask is not invincible. That underneath the perfect surface, there is someone who knows what they did. Who lives with it. Who was afraid of being exposed. That knowledge is not justice, but it is something. Last week, Melissa came to our session with news. I got the job. In Portland. I start next month. How do you feel about it? Terrified. Excited. Free. She laughed. All at the same time. And your parents? They understand. My mom cried, but she said she was proud of me. My dad helped me pack. Her voice softened. They know I need this. They know I cannot heal here in this town, surrounded by reminders. You are not running away. No, I am walking toward a life where I do not have to pretend. where nobody knows me as the sad girl who could not cope, where I can decide who I want to be instead of being defined by what happened to me. She reached into her bag and pulled out a familiar envelope. Thick, sealed, heavy with 6 years of truth. I am taking this with me. I do not know if I will ever do anything with it, maybe someday, maybe never. She held it carefully, like it contained something precious and dangerous. But it exists, and that matters. There is one more thing, she said. I looked up Emily. I stayed very still. She is alive. She lives in California now. She got married, has a little boy. Melissa's eyes glistened. She looks happy. In her pictures, she looks happy. Did you reach out? No. I thought about it, but I realized I do not need anything from her. I just needed to know she survived, that what happened did not destroy her completely, that there is life after this. She wiped her eyes. Maybe someday we will talk. Maybe she is healed enough to hear what I have to say, or maybe we will never speak again. Either way, knowing she is okay, it helps. Because if she can survive, so can you. Yes, exactly. This will be our last session for a while, I said. You are moving to Portland, starting a new chapter. Melissa nodded. Her posture was different now. Shoulders back, eyes forward, still carrying pain but no longer crushed by it. I want you to know something, I said. In 22 years, I have worked with hundreds of patients. Your case is one of the most difficult I have ever encountered. The level of betrayal, the institutional failures, the ongoing trauma of living near your abusers, most people would not have survived. Sometimes I think I did not survive. That part of me died in that room. Part of you did die. The girl who believed the world was fair, the girl who trusted easily, the girl who thought kindness would protect her. I paused. But something else was born. A woman who faced the worst of humanity and kept going, who told her story even when it hurt, who refused to let her abusers have the final word. She was crying now, but she was also smiling. Thank you, she said, for believing me, for listening, for being the first person who did not make me feel crazy. You were never crazy. You were injured. There is a difference. She stood up, walked to the door, then turned back. Dr. Bennett, will you remember me? I thought about all the stories I carry, all the patients whose pain has touched mine, all the nights I lie awake thinking about the cruelty humans inflict on each other. Always, I said, I will remember you always. I hope this story has helped you see your own life, your feelings, or the people around you from a different perspective. I hope it has helped you understand something about trauma, about survival, about the capacity for both cruelty and resilience that lives inside human beings. I would love to hear from you in the comments, your thoughts, your reactions. If this story reminded you of something in your own life or in the life of someone you know. If you want to share more, you can write to the email address in my profile. I read everything, and if this story touched you, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to be notified about the next real-life story. Click the bell icon to turn on notifications. Before we end, I want to ask you some questions. Take a moment to think about them. What do you think about Melissa's story? Have you ever trusted someone completely, only to discover they were wearing a mask? How do you feel about Jessica? Do you believe people like her ever face consequences? Or do some monsters live their whole lives unpunished, hiding behind smiles and charity work? What would you say to the 17-year-old Melissa who just wanted to feel beautiful for one day? What would you want her to know about her own worth? What about the school counselor who turned her away? What does her failure tell us about the systems we trust to protect the vulnerable? If you were Melissa, would you have stayed in that town, near your family? Or would you have left everything behind years ago? Do you think the truth in that sealed envelope will ever come out? Should it? What would justice even look like after so much time has passed? And finally, do you believe Melissa will find peace? Can someone heal from wounds this deep? Or do we just learn to carry our scars differently? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Your perspective matters. Your voice matters. And sometimes, sharing our thoughts about someone else's story helps us understand something about our own.